South of Los Santos on the Colombian coast lies the island known as Cayo Perico, an island owned by none other than El Rubio. The island is based on Cayo Norman, a small Bahamian island used by the Medellin cartel as a transshipment base for smuggling drugs into the United States and as a private party island. But long before El Rubio's takeover, traces of an older history remain. A primitive shelter, collapsed obelisks, and even a conquistador armor suggests that the island has been occupied and forgotten many times over. These relics are now overshadowed by cartel violence, leaving Cayo Perico as both a crime fortress and a graveyard of civilizations past. The island's most famous beach is the West Beach, a beautiful beach with clear water, palm trees and a beach club. Fences are surrounding the beach, and El Rubio's private security is guarding the area and the gate into it. The Cayo Perico Beach Party, also referred to as the Kinda Music Beach Party, is a famous event happening on the Cayo Perico island where people from all across the world come to party. There is a DJ booth and an interactive bar where people can get free drinks and snacks. As night approaches, the party will end and the people will have to go home. The party and the musical guests are a reference to the infamous Fire Festival, a fraudulent attempt to host a luxury music festival in Norman's Cay that ended in disaster. Outside of the beautiful beach and club, a sculpture of the Loch Ness Monster made of sand can be found behind the bar. There is also a wreck of a IAA buzzard on the top of the cliff between West Beach and the main dock, and next to it on the same cliff top there is a skeleton on the rock promontory just north of West Beach. This was previously a guest at the party who didn't listen, leading to his own demise. The Cayo Perico island also has a large airstrip that consists of one large runway and a hangar large enough for one plane that is used by El Rubio's employees for drug shipment distribution. In the hangar, everything from oil to drugs is stored. The airstrip also has a control tower that controls all the planes that land at Cayo Perico. It's also the center of the island's air defenses. Right next to the airstrip, there are some small businesses trying to profit from Cayo Perico's tourism, including a bar where tourists and people working at the island can relax, drink something, and talk about women.
Una mujer no debería usar pantalones, solo vestidos. Tienes razón.
A building that appears to be a motel seems to be for the temporary workers at the island, and right next to it there's a small shed stashed with weed. The welcome sign at the airstrip seems to be based on Hacienda Nápoles, a luxurious estate owned by the Medellin cartel and their leader Pablo Escobar. West of the airstrip, there is a power station with solar panels providing electricity to the airstrip. It can be used at night to disable cameras and lights to reduce the security sight range. Other than that, there are mostly just trees and abandoned containers. There are some small points of interest, like the fishing jetty, a small abandoned bridge situated northwest of the island, where a beached whale corpse will sometimes appear if you're lucky, along with some graves without names. It seems like the island has suffered from some sort of civil war before the events of GTA Online, as most of the cars and buildings have been burnt down, most windows are broken, and a lot of containers and building projects were abandoned. It is most likely that El Rubio scared away all of the residents and then decided to conquer the island, or that workers just weren't happy with the working conditions. This northern devastation might be a reference to Norman's Cay's impact from the Medellin cartel in the late 1970s and early 1980s. Norman's Cay was turned from a tropical paradise into a smuggling hub. Locals were forced out, their homes and businesses were abandoned, while airstrips and warehouses were constructed for cartel use. The broken buildings and burnt out vehicles in Cayo Perico's north could symbolize a similar fate. An island where normal life once existed, but which was erased when El Rubio took over. The unmarked graves found on the northern shore also tie into this darker past. These could belong to workers who either died in poor conditions, cartel victims buried in secret, or even locals who resisted El Rubio's takeover. The absence of names reflects how the cartel erases history, no identities and no accountability. The northern dock lies on the northern shore of Cayo Perico, Perico, not far from the burnt out homes and unmarked graves. Unlike the West Beach, which hides its corruption beneath music and luxury, the North Dock wears its purpose openly. It is a cartel seaport built only for efficiency and control. This is one of 2 docks that El Rubio uses for its drug distribution. The dock is being watched over by a guard tower, preventing tourists from sneaking in. In the northern dock, there are mostly warehouses filled with weed that the cartel exports. A few people do actually work at the dock, suggesting that there is still some sort of life on the island. The North Dock might once have been the main lifeline for the island's original residents, like fishermen, traders, and settlers who relied on these waters for survival. When El Rubio took over, the dock was converted into a smuggling hub. The old trade of fish and salt was replaced by cocaine and weed. Between the north and the south part of the island, there's a highly secured gate packed with security. This gate separates El Rubio's compound and crop fields from the rest of the island. With security there 24/7, El Rubio can prevent any potential intruders from going into his compound and the main dock. The shape of the island appears to be based on canoeing, but mirrored and rotated. The main dock is the island's main source for exporting the drugs, with one big canal connecting 2 docks to each other. The primary dock seems to be still under construction, as containers and building material is seen everywhere. This dock also has a lot of cranes, suggesting that there is a lot of movement. This serves as the primary dock for the island's heavy import. Based on the lack of security and stash houses, it's most likely that this dock exports other things than just drugs. A lot of civilian movement is going on in this area, and most of it consists of warehouses used to store the building material. The other side of the dock, however, is mostly finished. This is where the main manufacturing of coke happens. Stash houses of weed, coke production, and a massive factory producing drugs for the entire island. Compared to the other dock, the security is much more tight, and watchtowers surround this area. Southwest of the main dock is the employees' living quarter. Here is a cottage and 2 barracks, big enough to fit most of the staff working at the dock. Right next to the barrack is a water tower, supplying the barracks with water, and also a helicopter pad that El Rubio uses. The southeast of the island mostly consists of agriculture, with the primary plant being the marijuana plant. This serves as the business' main supply of production. Despite the cartel's main income coming from marijuana, a big portion of the plants also seem to be coke. The cartel grows and cooks the powder here in small sheds near the crop fields. Other than that, this area mostly consists of small stash houses with cash, watchtowers and air defenses to prevent any incoming planes from landing. A cutting powder box can be found at the eastern storage area at the fields. Perico is also a slang for cocaine in Mexico, referencing the fact that the island has a cocaine farm. On a hill between El Rubio's compound and the crop fields is a huge communication tower. This is the highest point of the island. From here you can almost see everything: the compound, the beaches and the docks. The tower is just not for looking around. It is a very important point, as hacking into it leads to access to every server and communication on the entire island, such as cameras and phone calls. Next to the tower there is also a strange torture cage that most likely have been used by El Rubio to punish his employees. South of the communication tower and the crop fields, on one of the southest points of the island, is a lighthouse, along with a small shed. The lighthouse seems to have been served as a watchtower over the Caribbean Sea, but is most likely abandoned, suggested that the trash that is near the lighthouse, and all the windows being completely broken. Something particularly interesting is that among the trash there is actually an old newspaper about Johnny Klebitz saying loves relations with tax. Whatever it means is unclear, but it's cool to see how Rockstar keeps putting these Easter eggs in the game. Near the lighthouse lies a small campsite, marked by a lonely campfire and scattered supplies. The lack of barracks by the lighthouse suggests that it was more of a temporary post. The campsite could originally have been used by fishermen or locals who lived on the island long before El Rubio's takeover. El Rubio's compound serves as the main base of operation. The mansion is surrounded by high walls with iron spikes on top. The outer main gate is reinforced and requires high-density demolition explosives to destroy, while the inner gate is opened from the inside. The whole place is full of cameras and guards. There are watchtowers, checkpoints, and even anti-aircraft weapons. El Rubio's personal helicopter, a Valkyrie gunship, waits on the helipad near the compound. Guarding the mansion is his panther, a creature as fierce as the man himself. Legends say that those caught stealing were either shot on sight or fed alive to the beast. Their remains gathered across the island as a warning. Pavel himself admits that while some have robbed El Rubio successfully, none lived long enough to enjoy their victory.
You see? This is a lesson to us all, I think. If our friend had known the Russian proverb, he would not be canned food now, yes?
The compound has a drainage tunnel which people can access outside from the sea, and multiple vaults storing his precious goods. The compound appears to have taken inspiration from the real-life Hacienda Nápoles. However, the shape of the pool is different in real life, and the small hut is located outside of the compound in-game. There are gardens, fountains, and guest houses. Under the mansion there's a secret vault. This is where El Rubio keeps gold, cash, and other treasures. There are also wine cellars and a bunch of tunnels in the basement that we have absolutely no idea where it could lead. Old cannons, anchors, and bells can be found in the basement that might have been left from the days before El Rubio took over. On the top floor of the mansion is his office. Here you can find the golden Perico pistol locked in his desk. The office also has strange decorations. Family photos, stock pictures from Red Dead Redemption 2, and even a photo of Simeon. The surrounding waters also conceal other secrets, like a wreck of a narco sub and even a massive meteorite that crashed into the ocean. Cayo Perico is more than just a party island or a backdrop for a heist. It is a place built on layers of history, from ancient relics and forgotten settlers to cartel rule and endless violence. What could have been a paradise has instead become a prison of wealth and fear, where brutality and silence hides the screams of the past. Every corner of the island tells a story. The broken homes in the north, the drowned wrecks beneath its waters, the watchtowers that see everything but protect nothing. It's clear that El Rubio conquered the island for his own gain, and that his drug business is the only life left.